Imagine you could travel 10 years into the future. Would you try to memorize every stock price and news headline? Morgan Housel suggests that's a waste of time. Instead, he asks a more profound question: what will not change? This book, written by the author of the global bestseller The Psychology of Money, isn't about predicting the next big thing. It's about mastering the timeless truths that dictate your wealth, happiness, and fate. Welcome back. Today, we are diving into Same as Ever, a guide to what never changes by Morgan Housel. In a world obsessed with forecasting, what's the next AI? When will the market crash? Housel flips the script. He argues that while technologies and markets change, human behavior remains exactly the same. Let's explore the core pillars of this book that will reshape how you view your future. First, realize that risk is what you don't see. We love to plan. We build models and forecasts. But Housel reminds us that the most dangerous risks are the ones that never cross our minds until they hit us. Pearl Harbor, September 11th, the 2008 financial crisis, and COVID-19. None of these were in the annual forecasts. They were surprises. The lesson? You don't need better predictions. You need better preparation. Financial survival means having a margin of safety that feels too big for the risks you can see, specifically to cover the risks you can't. Second, understand the happiness equation. Why does the world get richer, but people don't seem happier? Housel provides a simple formula: happiness equals results minus expectations. It's easy to improve your results. Work harder, invest better. It's incredibly hard to control your expectations. When your income doubles, your desires usually double with it. It's a goalpost that keeps moving. Housel argues that the most important financial skill isn't making more money. It's keeping your goalpost from moving so you can actually feel the accumulation of wealth. Third, stories are more powerful than statistics. We like to think we are rational, data-driven creatures. We are not. We are emotional story lovers. The best idea doesn't always win. The best story wins. This explains why bubbles happen and why logical plans fail. If you want to understand the economy, don't just look at the spreadsheets. Look at the narratives people tell themselves. A compelling story can drive markets higher than any balance sheet could justify. Fourth, the paradox of pessimism and optimism. Housel offers a golden rule for long-term success. Save like a pessimist, invest like an optimist. You need short-term paranoia to survive the inevitable crashes and recessions. If you get wiped out, you can't play the game. But you need long-term optimism to build wealth, believing that despite the chaos, humanity will solve problems and move forward. Most people struggle to hold these two opposing thoughts at once, but it is the secret to enduring wealth. Finally, remember that calm plants the seeds of crazy. Stability is destabilizing. It's a strange paradox. When the economy is stable, people get confident. When they get confident, they take risks. They borrow more. They speculate. And that very behavior creates the instability that causes the next crash. Understanding this cycle stops you from being surprised when good times end. It's not a bug in the system. It's a feature of human nature. In essence, Same as Ever teaches us to stop squinting at the hazy future and start looking at the clear lessons of the past. By focusing on the behaviors that never change, fear, greed, tribalism, and hope, you can build a strategy that works in any era, for any crisis. We've just scratched the surface of these timeless laws. But how do these principles apply to your specific decisions today? Let's analyze the deeper implications of Housel's wisdom together.
You know, we spend so much of our energy trying to guess what's coming around the corner. But what if the most important things, the most powerful forces in our lives, are the ones that actually never change? That's what we're diving into today. Some incredible ideas from author Morgan Housel about the timeless truths that govern our lives and, yes, our money. All right, let's kick things off with a huge question. What is the single biggest risk you face? And I'm not just talking about in the stock market. I'm talking about your career, your business, your whole life. Well, the answer is almost certainly not what you'd guess. It's not something you can just plug into a spreadsheet or read about in a headline. The biggest risk is the one that catches you completely by surprise, mainly because nobody was even talking about it. I mean, take the legendary Harry Houdini. This was a guy who made a living out of mastering predictable risk, escaping from chains underwater, being buried alive, you name it. But how did he die?
from a completely unexpected punch to the stomach by a student who caught him off guard backstage.
And that right there, that's the whole point. You can plan for the dangers you can see, but the truly game-changing risks are the surprises. It's like Housel says, we're actually great at predicting the future, except for the surprises, which, it turns out, are all that really matter.
Okay, so if the biggest risks are these total surprises, then it means one of the most unpredictable variables isn't out there in the world. It's actually right here, inside our own heads. And this is especially true when it comes to the connection between wealth and happiness.
So, get this. Authors Kurt Vonnegut and Joseph Heller are at this super lavish party, right? It's being thrown by some billionaire. And Vonnegut leans over and says something like, you know, our host made more money today than you've made from your incredible novel, Catch-22, in its entire lifetime.
But Heller, man, his response was just perfect. He says, yeah, that's true, but I have something he will never have. Enough. That one little word changes absolutely everything.
So what is enough? Well, you got to understand that modern capitalism is this incredible machine. It's brilliant at two things. One, generating wealth, and two, generating envy. It's designed to make you want more. So if you don't decide for yourself what enough is, that goalpost is just going to keep on moving forever. And life without a goalpost, that's no fun.
And Housel has this simple but kind of profound formula for it. If your expectations keep rising at the exact same speed as your results, guess what? You're never going to feel any happier. The taste of having more just increases your ambition faster than your satisfaction. It's a treadmill.
All right, so the world's unpredictable. Our own minds can play tricks on us. So what are we supposed to do? How do you even navigate that? Well, the answer lies in understanding this really fundamental pattern that shows up everywhere you look.
You can see this perfectly in what happened in California a few years back. After 6 super long years of drought, fires, the whole deal, the state finally got exactly what it had been praying for: record-breaking rain. And it led to this incredible super bloom, so massive you could see it from space.
But, and this is the crazy part, too much of a good thing ended up being the seed for a really, really bad thing. See, once the rain stopped, all that beautiful new green stuff died. It became this massive pile of dry kindling, which then fueled some of the worst wildfires the state had ever seen. This isn't just about weather. You see this exact cycle everywhere, especially in financial markets. Good times plant the seeds of their own destruction.
So, faced with these inevitable cycles, what's the game plan? Housel has this brilliant dual mindset he recommends. You got to save like a pessimist because you know for a fact that trouble is always, always coming. But you invest like an optimist because you have faith in long-term growth and human ingenuity.
And that idea, that long-term thinking, it is absolutely crucial because our gut instinct is almost always to go for speed. And speed, well, speed is often fragile.
Just look at the tragic story of Robert Wadlow. I mean, this guy's growth was literally off the charts. By the time he was 7, he was already taller than most grown men. And when he died at just 22 years old, he was nearly 9 feet tall. But that incredible, rapid growth, it came at a terrible price.
His body just couldn't handle it. It was incredibly weak. His heart was strained just to keep him alive. So that super fast growth, it didn't create strength, it created fragility. And that is such a powerful metaphor for so many things, especially investing, where that frantic rush to get rich quick almost always ends in disaster.
So what's the exact opposite of that fragile, lightning-fast growth? It's this number right here, 700%. Think about that. That's the average return you would have gotten from a boring old S&P 500 index fund over any 20-year period in the last 70 years. Slow, patient, compounding growth, it's not just strong, it's pretty much unbeatable.
So you see, the whole game is just shifting your mindset. It's not about asking, how can I get the absolute highest returns this year? The real question, the one that matters, is what are the best returns I can sustain for the longest possible time? Because that is where the real magic happens.
Okay, let's wrap this up into your timeless toolkit. Number 1, the biggest risk is always the one you don't see coming, so focus on being prepared, not on trying to predict. Number 2, you have to define what enough is for you, because if you don't, the world will, and you'll never be happy. 3, good times plant the seeds of bad times. It's a cycle. Save like a pessimist so you can survive it. And finally, number 4, patience is your greatest advantage. Your superpower, really. Go for the good returns you can stick with for a very long time.
At the end of the day, what housework really drives home is this. Technology, politics, headlines, that stuff is always going to change. But people, our basic behaviors, greed, fear, envy, opportunity, that stuff is the same as ever. And if you understand those unchanging truths about ourselves, you'll be so much better prepared for whatever comes next. So I'll leave you with this to think about.